Hey, what's up, guys? Chris Lee, aka Tony, singer, songwriter, producer, professional audio engineer, owner of United Destiny Entertainment. Check this out. Today, with this segment of the video, I'm gonna basically be talking to you guys about PCs and Macs, what I think's better, whether I lean towards one side or I lean towards the other. I'm basically gonna be giving you guys personal preference. Everybody out there who gives their personal preference about PCs and Macs basically gives you exactly that, their personal preference on what works for them depending on what they're using a computer for. Now, you'll hear a lot of talk about people saying that Macs is better than PCs or PCs is better than Macs, the whole 9 yards. Once again, the answer is it's personal preference and what you're using it for. Me personally, I'm a professional audio engineer. I mix and master music for commercials and movies and whatever you can think of, movies, commercials, live sound, any kind of sound that you hear. Basically, I mix and master it. I make it sound good. It's my job. So right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you my personal preference. My personal preference is really both of them. I think Macs and PCs are great. I have Macs, I have PCs, and they both work for me equally. But I will tell you my pros and cons for each one of them and why. 9 times out of 10, when you read reviews or you hear reviews on YouTube, you hear people go against PCs right off the back because they say PCs can get viruses and Macs can't. Well, let me give you guys a wake-up call. That may very well may be true, but this is what you need to think about. Viruses aren't the only thing that can stop a computer from working. You need to keep in mind that PCs and Macs both have hard drives, whether that's IDE or whether that's SATA drives, or they carry a solid state drive. The thing about them is hard drives go out in general. There's nothing in the world that says hard drives only go out in PCs but not in Macs. That's not true. There's Mac failures for hard drives all the time. It happens all the time. If you read up on it, if you watch YouTube videos, there are people out there complaining that their Mac hard drive has failed as well as their PCs. So you can't really compare those two. I mean, if they both fail in both computers, I don't think it really has anything to do with it being a PC or a Mac. That's just a hard drive in general. Reasons for hard drives going out is hard drives get overheated sometimes. Sometimes you catch viruses, or your hard drives get encrypted with stuff on there that forces them to shut down. They overheat. You've had them for a while. The hard drives aren't able to write anymore to the hard drive itself. That's something that you got to keep in mind. That's really wear and tear over time with anything. Anything wear and tear that's created is going to get wear and tear and is going to eventually stop working sooner or later. It's the same thing with cars. Some people have cars that last only 5 years. Some have cars that last for 20 years. 25 years. Regardless, at the end of the day, the car got to the point where the engine either stopped working or something in the car stopped working to where the car basically is dead and gone. Same thing with the hard drives. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat, PCs, why I love PCs in general. The reason why I love PCs in general, my first reason is components. The components in PCs are so much more affordable. They're very inexpensive. If I go out and buy a Mac Pro today, I'm going to pay about $3,500 for a Mac Tower, and it might not even meet my requirements for running recording studios and stuff like that. For me, this being my job and my profession is very key. So with that being said, if you go out and spend $3,500 on a Mac Pro, and it doesn't even meet your system requirements. Say you only have one hard drive in there that's probably about 1 terabyte hard drive, something like that, and however 8 gigs or 16 gigs of memory, whatever it may be. You're paying $3,500 basically for the name and the body, the tower, because that is not enough to run a full-blown recording studio that you're going to be mixing, you know, probably sessions with like 160 tracks and stuff like that. If you want to bounce down the stems and stuff, that's cool for you, or however you want to do it. But we're going to talk about that in another video. But that is not really efficient computer to have in a recording studio with 1 terabyte hard drive and just some memory in it. My point is I can go to one of those gaming websites where you can get a computer built from scratch to your liking, all the way from the casing to the components in it, and basically I can go online and get me a PC built with a custom made casing, fan, water cooling system, and like 3 hard drives with a dope video card, the whole 9 yards, and I still might only pay like $2,000 max to have a great recording system to put my DAWs on, my recording programs, my beat making programs, my video editing programs, and that's still a lot less than $3,500. Not to mention with that Mac Pro, if you already paid $3,500 to $4,000 for that Mac Pro, and it only has 1 terabyte hard drive, guess what? To make that computer more efficient and run for you better, you're going to basically have to spend more money on more hard drives, more memory, more stuff. So that's going to run you a couple $100 more than on top of already spending $3,500 to $4,000. So keep that in mind. But with the PCs, that's not so much an issue. Like I said, you're going to pay $2,000 max for a computer with at least 2-3 hard drives, a shitload of memory, nice video cards, a water cooling system, the whole 9 yards. There's plenty of gaming websites that built these computers from scratch, custom made, get them designered the way that you want them, and that's all good. Now, I will say, the big argument about viruses on PCs and Macs. Granted, the PC can get viruses. Definitely get viruses. I'm pretty sure we've all owned a computer that's been shut down or the hard drive and crashed because of some virus. Alright, right off the back, 9 times out of 10, most people who get viruses anyway are most people who are downloading illegal material. If you're downloading illegal programs and all that kind of stuff, you're asking for viruses. I don't care what kind of virus software, virus protection stuff that you have on your computer. Hackers nowadays and people who put these viruses and these Trojans inside of these programs are getting smarter and smarter, and they are finding ways to work around your Norton security or your antivirus software. So granted, if you want to stay away from viruses and you don't want your computer to crash, just stay away from downloading illegal music or software and stuff like that, and you'll be good to go. Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily won't get a virus, because that's not the only way to get a virus. Sometimes it's going to some kind of website and opening or falling for some false video or some false email or link that once you open it, it drops a virus into your computer, and you can't do anything about it. Now, that's not so much your fault or anybody else's fault, except the people who are hacking computers and dropping these viruses into them, because that's what they want to do. They want to be able to drop these viruses in your computer to where they control your computer, or they have access to your computer, and once it becomes encrypted, it's going to cost you money to be able to get some of that material back. You won't be able to get all of it back, but that's just the way that it goes. So right off the bat, I can tell you this. With the viruses, if you stay away from those websites and stuff like that, don't open up any faulty emails, you should be fine as far as protecting your computer from getting the viruses. The next thing, you hear different things even in the audio world about people giving advice on if you should or shouldn't cut off your computers, or if you should or shouldn't cut off your studio monitors and stuff like that. But today we're talking about computers. I've heard different things about cutting your computers off or leaving them on. Some people say leave them on. It's better to leave them on because you stop your computers basically from blowing out. At least that's their take on it. I'll tell you this. I'm going to just explain what has worked for me. I've had computers for years, Macs and PCs. There has been times where I just leave my PCs running. When I leave my PCs running, I'm talking days for weeks. It might be done, but I haven't had any issues from that. And I just started doing that because I wanted to see myself, can it actually harm my computer to leave it on? I haven't had any issues with doing that, but I have had a time where I've cut my computer on and off every night like I'm supposed to, and my computer still has crashed, or the hard drive has went out and some stuff like that. My advice to everybody is just to cut your computer off. I mean, if you want to be on the safe side, cut your computers off. Make sure that you shut them down every day after use. That way, you're doing the right thing to try to maintain proper maintenance to the computer. You're not working your computer too hard to where it shuts down. So just keep that in mind. Another reason why I like PCs is that they're easy access. I'm able to take this PC apart by taking the side cover off this thing, and take a couple screws off and pop in a new hard drive or pop in a secondary hard drive with the right components, obviously, whether that's the cables that go with it, the hard drive, screwdriver, stuff like that. I'll be good to go. The memory sticks are so easy to pop out in PCs. If I want to replace my memory sticks, I'll go pick me up, a couple memory sticks. Basically, pop the side of my computer open, unlatch the two knobs on there. Basically, that's holding it into place. Pull it out, put my new one in, clamp it back, put the side thing casing back on, and I'm good to go. Macs, that's a totally different story. Macs really aren't easy to really get into, especially if you don't know what you're doing. I'm not a Mac nerd or technician. I don't know much about Macs. I know a lot more about PCs, so I can take this thing apart and go buy all the components I need to do to fix me up a great computer and be able to use it that way. A Mac, I can't do that. So I would have to turn around and pay somebody to have them fix my computer to do something that's probably super simple, because I don't know how to do it myself, and that's even more money. iMacs. Nobody can make me believe that it's that easy for an untrained person to really open up an iMac and know what he's doing, know how to change this out. Granted, there's Google and YouTube videos. This is very true. But do you really want to go through the hassle? Think about how much more money you're going to pay for the components of a Mac compared to the components of a PC that work just as good, if not better. So, my personal preference, like I said, I love PCs and I love Macs. I use them both for recording, for video editing, for beat making programs. But I will also say another pro that the PC has that the Mac don't. There are certain programs out there in the audio world that are only good for PC. And when I say only good for PC, that means they only work on a PC. They're only made for the PC. I feel like the PC is much more versatile for me and my personal preference, because I like to rewire programs. I like to run FL Studio, Reasons, and Pro Tools all together at once. And plus, I like to add a bunch of sounds and VSTs and the whole 9 yards to the PC and be able to run these programs together to create whatever project I'm working on. Now, a PC, I'm not sure if they're coming out with FL Studio for Mac or if they haven't already, but not having FL Studio for Mac is a big problem. I remember a couple years ago I had to use some kind of client, some rewired client that allowed you to use VST plugins on a Mac, but it was very glitchy. Some sounds wasn't working. It just didn't work out in general. It was a complete mess. So basically what I did was on my Mac Pros, on my MacBook Pros, what I basically did was I used a program called Boot Camp, which allows you to put a Windows operating system on a Mac. So one half of my hard drive is used for my Mac side and the other half is used for my Windows side. So I use them in unison, which there you go. There's an answer. Like I said, it's personal preference, but you see I'm able to use both Macs and PCs. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not totally against Macs at all. I love some of the programs that Mac automatically come with that you don't, some of the video editing programs and stuff like that you don't necessarily have to buy. Now, PCs have it too, but I just dig Mac's a lot more than the PCs when it comes to video editing programs. But on both of my PCs, I use Photoshop. You know, I use Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, Pro Tools. I would love to use Logic on a PC. I'm hoping that somebody comes out with that. I'm hoping that somebody gets smart and be like, hey, maybe we should make Logic for a PC, because you'll get a lot more clienteles and consumer buyers to be able to say, hey, well, I don't necessarily have to spend my money on a Mac. I can buy a cheaper PC that I can add a bunch of components to that work just as fine and still be able to use some of the same programs I use on a Mac on a PC. There are people who are willing to spend money for that. So whoever's creating this stuff, get smart and do that. Right off the bat, I will also tell you that as far as the hard drive situations, like I told you earlier, the hard drives go out in all computers regardless. So it's not really a computer's fault, PC or Mac. It's just the hard drive itself went out and it doesn't work anymore. So with that being said, it's all personal preference. I basically just gave you guys all my pros about a PC. The reason why I didn't really say too many cons about the Mac or pros about the Mac is just because the simple fact that, like I said, I use them both, but I wanted to really shine a light on a PC, on why a PC is more efficient and my workhorse for me, even though I use PCs and Macs for mixing and mastering and recording and stuff like that. So PCs is my workhorse. Actually, in the next segment of the video, I'm actually going to be showing you guys. I went to go buy more hard drives and stuff like that. My hard drives didn't crash, but I want to make this more of a supercomputer. So I went out and I bought more hard drives and the component pieces to go with it, to be able to put in my computer, and I'm basically going to be doing that. I'm going to be installing another hard drive into this computer and showing you guys how to do it. So that's my take on PCs versus Macs. If you hear anybody out there trying to say PCs aren't any good, they're completely wrong and they're out of their mind. They obviously don't dig deeper and don't know much about computer. They only base it off what they hear. PCs and Macs are pretty much equal. They both are workhorses. I'm just saying, if you want to put it into comparison, which would you rather pay for? A PC that you pay for a body for about $300, maybe $400, that you can go add, and I'm talking name brand computers, HPs, Dells, whatever the computers may be that you buy from store. You can go to Walmart, go to Staples, buy you a computer, and you can add to it. So you're going to pay like $500 at most, and you can spend another $100 for another good 2 terabyte hard drive and add it to the computer. And if you got open slots for more memory, all you basically do is buy more memory that matches with the computer, check your BIOS, and if it says that you are allowed to add more memory into it, as long as it doesn't overwork the computer or won't work with the computer properly, then go ahead and add that. Bam. You just pay like $700 to put 3-4 terabytes worth of hard drives in one computer and maxed out the memory space. There you go. You got a great computer to run with for about $700. If you want to kick it up a notch, like I said, you go to the gaming websites. You get the nice computers built from scratch, all the way from the body to the components to the hard drives and everything that go in it. Video cards, gamer stuff, whatever you want. You're going to pay with them probably about $1,200 to $1,500. It just depends on what kind of computer you want, how badass you want it to be, and what you want in it. But you're going to pay a couple of $100 extra basically to pay for more hard drives, more video, better video card, solid state drive, whatever you want in it, water cooling system. Or do you want to go out and pay $3,500 for a Mac, basically paying $3,500 for the Mac Tower, but it only comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive with 8 gigs of memory, and try to run a recording studio or do video editing? That's not very efficient. That's not really going to get the job done. You're going to go out and spend a couple $100 more on top of the $3,500 to $4,000 to basically make that computer top of the line. So you do the math. If it works out for you, then go that route. But if you don't, if you want to save money, I would either go with the PC route and be able to use more programs and buy nice components for that are very inexpensive and have a workhorse computer. So I would rather have cheaper computer that's a workhorse over an expensive computer that isn't very efficient and doesn't meet my requirements or my standards for whatever I'm using it for. So I hope this video helped. Just trying to advise you guys a little bit. Like I said, this is personal preference. If you got more videos or comments, you want to leave a comment, go right ahead. If you're going to leave a comment just to argue with me about what's better on PC and Mac, like I said, you can do that. Waste your time if you want. It's still personal preference, so you can say whatever you want to say. I'm just trying to give you guys some knowledge on what's worked for me for years. And being in a recording industry, the audio world, PCs and computers are very, very important. So in the next video, stay tuned. I'm going to be showing you guys how to change out some hard drives. And subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more. Chris Lee, aka Toonie. Thanks for watching.